through the ample open door of the peaceful country barn, a sunlit pasture field with cattle and horses feeding, and haze and vista, and the far horizon fading away. Walt Whitman, 1865.
There's a place on the North Fork of Long Island where you can still look out from the open doors of a peaceful country barn and see the far horizons fading across fields of grain and hay. It is the Hallockville Museum Farm, located on the historic and scenic Sound Avenue corridor in the town of Riverhead. It's a place where visitors can rediscover the deep agricultural roots we all share.
The eastern part of Long Island was really settled from New England and was culturally part of New England. The settlers landed in Boston and then came here in the 1640s. And so farming here was much more like in New England than on the other end of Long Island, where there was a lot of Dutch impact and cultural history. The farming in that period was almost entirely self-sufficient. Almost everything that was consumed on the farm was grown on the farm. Everything that they wore, everything that they ate, everything that they used to build their houses and barns out of, it was virtually all grown locally.
The Hallock family was part of the Great Puritan Migration to New England in the 1630s, and were among the first settlers on the North Fork a decade later. They soon began acquiring land in this area, but did not acquire the museum's oldest homestead until nearly 1800. The house and barn, both built by Reuben Brown a decade before the Revolution, would be home to the Hallocks for most of the next 2 centuries as they and their North Fork neighbors made the area the center of a prosperous agricultural community.
Zachariah Hallock enlisted March 25, 1776 with the 1st Regiment Minutemen of Colonel Josiah Smith and Captain Paul Reeves' company of Suffolk County. Zachariah's company then fought in the famous Battle of Long Island, the largest battle of the entire war, and first battle fought after America declared its independence from the British on July 4, 1776. The British won this battle, which gave them strategic control of New York. On August 9, 1778, British Governor William Tryon arrived in Southwold, Long Island with 1,000 troops to occupy and control the area. They raided cattle pens, stole food, shamed and harassed the community, and forced residents out of their homes and took their worldly goods. Under much duress and adding insult to injury, they made the people of Southwold take and sign an oath of fealty to their nemesis, King George. In 1790, Governor George Clinton appointed Zachariah Hallock as captain of the militia of Suffolk County. The home he purchased in the late 18th century stands today as a museum and working farm, still true to its 18th century customs. He would be astonished to see this home and farm being enjoyed in the 21st century for weddings, festivals, arts and crafts, summer camp, barn dances, and reenactments of the war he fought in. The farm and home was occupied by Zachariah's direct descendants until 1979, when his great-granddaughter Ella moved out at the age of 95, only to die 5 years later in a nursing home 100 years old. Today, the Hallock Museum is a beautiful legacy to him and his descendants. Tourists, history buffs, and curiosity seekers from all over the world pay for a guided tour to see this rare example of revolutionary farm life. The memory of Captain Zachariah Hallock, the farmer, cobbler, and patriot, lives on now through this wonderful museum, his descendants that keep his memory alive, and his service that helped bring freedom to America.